Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jack, and today I'm going to tell you my experiences with dealing with competition nerves when it comes to cubing and yeah, how to overcome them. So my story with nerves probably starts when I was, well, at least in the cubing context, when I was 15, and that was when I went to my first competition, Melbourne Cube Days 2014. And I think I spoke to no one because I was really socially anxious the entire time, and I think only one kid, random kids, spoke to me the entire comp. I think there were people from my high school that attended that competition, but I didn't really talk to them for some reason. So yeah, lonely times. And yeah, when I went competing, obviously it was a pretty new environment, and my hands were like earthquake mode the entire time. And my hands are also naturally shaky, so that meant I obviously ended up triple DNFing three blind, which was also fun. And yeah, I did compete in three blind in my first competition, but I think it took like two or three comps before I actually got a success, which actually happened at I think Australian Nationals 2015, where I came second for some reason, so that was cool. Anyway, what are nerves? So nerves are like your body's fight or flight response to something potentially dangerous, like getting evicted from your tribe, like back in ancient times, or maybe if a tiger's about to kill you. Your body's like, oh shoot, let's pump up this adrenaline so we can fight this bad boy and not die, because not dying is fun. But yeah, in essence, I think your body's just doing this to help you stay alive, although it's not particularly useful nowadays, unless you can control it well, which I'll get into later. But anyway, three ways to cope with nerves. So I guess tip number one is to breathe, and breathe down here from the diaphragm. Basically, it's like a way to trick your body into deactivating the fight or flight response, and it helps you chill out. So do something like breathe in to the count of six. So hold for two at the top. Wait, should I exhaled? And then you exhale. So breathe in for six, hold it for two, then breathe out for six, and hold for two. That's what I do anyway. I know some people people fighting out in the battlefield do something called box breathing, where they breathe in for four, hold for four, breathe out for four, hold for four at the bottom. So if people are doing this on the battlefield to calm themselves down, because obviously when you're literally going to die, you kind of want to calm yourself down, especially more because that's very much the whole tiger situation. But in our situation, we're just people solving colorful plastic toys in front of some other kids and having fun. So I'm pretty sure if that technique's gonna work for people in a battlefield, trying to think rationally and to not die, I'm pretty sure it's gonna work for us too. So breathe deeply before solving, and make sure you're not breathing up the top of your chest 10 times a second when you're actually solving. That's probably a good idea too. And tip number two is to get used to your environment. I think for the most part, once I started going through a bunch more comps, I started to get a bit more used to how things worked. Sitting in the scrambling, not sitting in the scrambling section, that'd be cheating. Sitting in the competitors area for a bit of time, then competing, or staying at a certain table, and then you kind of get used to the flow of things, and that kind of helps automate some things in your brain. So you kind of know what to expect, at least to some extent. Obviously, some stuff aliens invading the competition and taking the cube out of your hands and DNFing yourself, that's out of your control. But there are a lot of things that you can control, surprisingly. And I think getting used to the environment can definitely help out with that. Obviously, we can't really do that as well nowadays because we're kind of stuck at home, especially if you're in a place like Melbourne and a lot of other places most likely. So I think trying to emulate the competition situation as much as possible, that's probably a good idea. So you can do that through, competing in online competitions, of course, because you only have three solves. So that's just kind of what you have in a competition, and if you screw up the first one, then it's goodbye to your chances of getting a mean. Also, some kind of live streaming perhaps, because that means people are going to be watching you, and there's kind of that aspect of back in the ancient days, if your tribe people were judging you or something, maybe that might mean, oh no, I'm gonna get evicted from the tribe, and then I'll have no friends and I'll probably die by tigers. So trying to I guess emulate that kind of aspect can definitely be helpful too. I think if you're trying stuff out that's making you feel nervous, even at home, then that's like a good sign. You should like lean into that, like seek discomfort pretty much. So tip number 3 is to think about what's in your control. So there are a lot of things that happen in a competition, from a bunch of people, like new and old, the way the comp operates, whether it's like a sunny or not so sunny day, whether aliens take over your competition. Like a lot of stuff's like outside of your control, and like that's all the more reason why you should like not give a damn about those and focus on what's in your control. Which is why I advocate stuff like deep breathing, because that scientifically like gets rid of that fight or flight response, and it's something you can obviously do, and you need it to stay alive as well. Meditation is also like a good daily exercise you can do to sort of practice doing that, because it helps you focus on what's within your control and to not give a damn about random thoughts in your head that are probably not in your control, and all the stuff that are physically and literally out of your control too. So definitely recommend having that kind of mindset. Also, I guess in terms of times as well, if you get like to, I don't know, meme scrambles at the beginning and get like, I don't know, 14 and 3 blind, obviously I think I'll probably get more nervous knowing that I'd have a pretty solid chance of getting a world record after that. Well, I mean, if I've got 2 14s, that'd be 2 world records already. But I think like the mentality I'd have towards maximizing my chances of getting another world record, 2 other world records, would be to be kind of the same as if I would have like a 21 or like and a 21 at the beginning. Like just focus on my breath, do what I got to do, and in some sense, it's when you think about what's in your control, it's a lot simpler than you think, but it's also kind of difficult in a sense, because your brain likes to think about things that are apocalyptic sometimes when that's not actually the case. And just a quick bonus one to throw in there: try to see if you can aim to get yourself in the optimal or objectively optimal I guess region of nervousness. So what do I mean by that? So I read this in some random graph somewhere. So once again, look this up on the internet or some book that's more qualified than me. But I think on this side you have like total like chill and like I don't care, like that kind of feeling. But that's actually not your like optimal like performing zone, even though I think that's what people think. Like they say, oh, I won't care about the solve, even though they do. I mean, that's kind of like my attitude towards scuba. It's kind of down here. I really just don't care about what times I get for that. But it's not how you're going to like perform at your peak. Like your peak's actually somewhere around the middle. So there's some degree of nerves, because it can actually help you like focus and stuff, because when a tiger's about to wreck you, I'm pretty sure some parts of those nerves are going to help you focus on taking on the tiger, or those soldiers, referring back to those soldiers on the battlefield. I'm pretty sure like when they're calming down their breath, they're not trying to go to a place of complete tranquility and like I don't give a damn this, because I don't think they'd survive if they had that attitude. Like they probably still want like a portion of those nerves, so they're still on edge, but they can actually think like rationally. So you kind of want to stay in that zone. But of course, going on the other side, that's when you have to go like earthquake mode. That was me at my first competition. You don't want to be there either. And I'm guessing that's where a lot of people are. But I think they might be aiming for like the wrong position. So you want to be around the middle. So some degree of nerves, but not over the top or not too little. Like I think I thought of like this other example that kind of relates back to this. So it's like what I like to call the AO12 phenomenon. So when I get like string together a few solves like at home, when I'm casually solving, I noticed that after 6 or so solves, I can get like the next 6 or so in pretty easily, and I feel like really focused, because I know like, oh shoot, I could get a good average of 12, trying to focus and memo well and review well, and yeah, it seems to work quite well, and I knock off a good average of 12. And then once I do that, my brain's kind of like, okay, I've got the average of 12 now. Now I can like chill out. But once I do, I start just randomly DNFing a lot, and I'm just like, what? So I don't know. That's like a good practical example of what happens maybe if you're too chill. And as for the too nervous zone, you probably already know what that feels like, which is why you're watching this video right now. And if you'd like more help with dealing with your nerves or just anything else, in regards to improving at 3x3 blindfolded, be sure to sign up for my one-on-one coaching services down below. And in the meantime, have a great day, stay safe, and bye-bye.